the definition of success is one of those things that also is very unique to everybody. Like not everybody has the same definition of success. Like when I was a kid, my definition of success was that I was going to have a retrospective of my work at the Guggenheim when I was 50 years old. That was my pinnacle. Now I'm almost 50 years old and I am not even close to having a retrospective at the Guggenheim. So gotta lower my standards a little bit.
That's the point. Yes, I have the same. For me, when I was like 13 or 14, when I decided to go the sculpture way, for me, the success was that, okay, in my 25, I will be living in New York and have exhibitions and be very famous. So I'm like 12 years after and still not there at all. So.
Well, but see, there's that interesting word though, because you said famous. Like, so when you say famous, do you mean like well known in the art canon, being written about, or do you mean rich?
Yes, that's the question. I think both things, because I was I always wanted everything to be famous and rich. And with rich, I mean to be able to earn money with it, to be able to continue producing some art. So that's all. That's all my definition.
Which is a very different one because, like, again, I come from America, and in America, being rich means being decadent and having excess and all that. Whereas, sort of in Europe and specifically in Czech Republic, it being rich just means not having to worry about money.
Yes, we are a very poor country.
I was going to say, I say humble country. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. You're not a poor country. There are lots of rich people in the Czech Republic.
In fact, it's not true. My husband have been reading some article about statistic, how many really rich people is living in Czech Republic. Like rich people, there is only 50 families in Czech Republic. And there is then there is like a huge gap, and there is the middle class. It's nothing between.
Are you sure it's a middle class? Maybe lower middle class?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, because even in America, like our middle class is going away. Like we the rich are becoming richer, the poor are becoming poorer, and that middle class is sort of getting washed away. And to a certain extent, it's true here. I mean, I know lots of lawyers and not doctors, lawyers that do very well here. Hoteliers did pre-pandemic. They did very well. Tourist-related things. Yeah, that's about it. And then tech corporations and whoever owns Alza, because they're great.
Yes, it's true.
And now Rolik, whoever owns that as well, is doing very well.
Yes, Rolik also, and Košík.
I'm a fan of Rolik myself. I'm not Košík, but it's a personal taste. It's fine.
It's okay. I'm a little fan. I'm old school. I'm going physically in shops.
Seriously? During a pandemic, you go to shops? I have tried my best to do everything in my power to do as much online shopping, which, don't get me wrong, I hate online shopping. I love going to a store, touching something, being able to look at because sometimes even if it's something in a jar, I'm like, that jar is prettier than this jar, and I want that one. and like when you do it online, you get whatever the hell they just throw in the truck.
Yes, and I cannot shop online because it would take me hours to read everything that is in the products. And when I'm in shop, it's very quickly for me. And online, I would be studying so much that it would take me like 8 hours. And the second thing that we are used to go shopping with my husband. It's our way of couple therapy. Because yes, it's, all the frustration and stress, it can open in Lidl. It's like great that there is this situation when you can let us react to each other temper and aggressivity and everything. So we just walk away from each other and then calm down. And it's like, it's in a therapeutical language, it's, I think, called proxemic dance. Like dancing around each other, full of anger to each other, and it has this definition. So it's for us, it's like this opportunity, and without going outside, we would kill each other during the pandemic. So we have to go shopping physically.
Yeah, no, we've taken up the habit of not going shopping together. No, because we need time apart. Period. Like so. I will go do my shopping. Yeah. She will go do her shopping, because when she goes and does her shopping, I get to be in the apartment by myself. And that's magnificent, and vice versa. So that's our form of decompression that we do.
Yes, we have other situation with my husband because he's a filmmaker and assistant of camera. So he leaves like for a few days, and I'm all time alone, and I love it absolutely, like you.
Oh, I wish my wife would do that. No, my wife she works a 9 to 5 job. So like the most I could get her out is 8 hours if I'm lucky.
Poor you.
Well, poor her as well. She has to tolerate me because I rarely leave as well. I mean, other than shopping or going to the studio. So I only leave like 4 hour stretches at a time as well. So it goes both ways. And, I'm not sitting here criticizing her or her lifestyle. So, because I'm just as bad. But yeah.
But you seem very, self-reflected.
Yeah, but that's not always good.
It's true.
Sometimes it's a bit much, but there's also cultural differences as well, like certain Americanisms versus Czechisms and things like this. Because my wife is Czech.
I know. I have read it. Petra. Her name is Petra. I know.
Wow, she's gonna hate that people know that, but okay, yeah.
We will not tell her.
Yeah, I try not to I don't encourage her to listen to these podcasts because she will not be happy. But yes, it's hard. It has its difficulties, but I don't really chalk it up to anything unique. I believe that everything is, it's just a man and a woman trying to share a space, or a woman and a woman, or a man and a man. It doesn't matter. Anybody trying to like cohabitate and be happy, or at least tolerant for long periods of time is so difficult. Like, I mean, my God,
it is, but you are American. You are supposed to be able to visit therapy, couple therapy.
I love therapy.
Me
use
too.
therapy.
Me too.
Except my wife is Czech and she does not believe in therapy.
Yikes. I used the first year of my relationship with my husband to when he was really deep in love with me, the first year when he was excited. So I was like, okay, I really need you to go with me to therapy because I'm already 6 years being a therapy client. So I'm a bit far more before you, like, and I need you to be able to keep the tempo or the with me. So
with the growth and the change that you're going through. Yes, absolutely.
And thanks God he agreed. And after 8 years together and 7 years in therapy, like not every week, but we have these phases, and he's happy. He's really happy, and he's able to say, okay, without therapy I wouldn't be here, like not here like living, but here in this phase. So above it, and he really loves it and he's enjoying it.
I'm all for therapy. My wife works for a company and her company offers free therapy for their employees.
Really?
Yeah. And my wife refuses to use it. So I'm using the hell out of it. So like, because I'm a family member of an employee. So like I get her free therapy and she doesn't, and she still's like, what do you talk about in therapy? And I'm like, I talk about you.
Yes,
talk about all the like annoyances and everything I cannot say to your face. I'm totally kidding. I don't. I talk about lots of things, but I mean, but it's to me, therapy is amazing because it's one of those things like it's like the old days that you talk about the third place. Like, so you've got your home, you got your work, and then you need a third place. In the same way, I think there's a third need for a third persons or third people. So you got your loved ones and your family, you got your friends, and then sometimes you want to talk to somebody that has no relationship to your friends or your family and just bitch and moan and vent and decompress about all the stupidity that goes on in your life, in your interpersonal relationships, or your positive things. But that's, for me, rarer. I use it as more of a decompression for stupidity. So that's what I use it for.
Me too, absolutely. I have the same reasons you have for using therapy, and I think I'm a bit addicted. I take it as a really important part of my life. I don't want to live without it. It's so much more easier for me because I'm a very sensitive person, artist, so for me it's really difficult to handle normal things, just really normal things, like living in this world and living with normal people, like who are always trying to tell you are not supposed to be so sensitive, you are not supposed to be open, and all these things we are. So and usually only the therapist is the person who's saying me, but it's okay, you are like this, and he's able to work with me on all of these topics, decompression, like you called it.
My therapist tells me that I'm not sensitive enough, and then my wife tells me that I'm too sensitive. So I'm not sure where I'm
really.
I'm doing something wrong somewhere. I don't know which.
But
I feel like my therapist should see my sensitive side, and my wife maybe should see less of it so that she quits complaining that I'm too sensitive. I don't know.
But maybe it keeps you in the balance.
I strive for balance. That's sort of the mantra in my life, is striving for balance. But boy, I'm not anywhere close. On a regular basis, I should say, I'm not anywhere close, but it is always my attempt to have some balance.
Sure, me too. But I was thinking, I'm always thinking about this topic of being balanced, and I have this problem with. I think I'm a kind of workaholic. Previously, I really understood that it's a part of mine, and I'm probably not able to change it. It's something that it's like breathing for me to work always, and because I'm enjoying it. So like this.
It's very different to most people. Like most people in the world, they think of their job as a thing that more or less they do for money, and that's it. And then like when they leave their job, they're just like, okay, whatever, I'm done with that. And they now go on to their friends, their family, and whatever they do for joy and happiness. But like creative people, we have chosen a life where those are combined together. So like I want my daily life to be happy and joyous and interesting and spontaneous and whatever. And a lot, and those people, like don't understand why somebody would do a job just for money. So like I don't get them. Like to me, that is just like the most horrible thing I could ever imagine.
Yes.
Even though maybe I don't make as much money as I could had I gone down that road, I enjoy every day a little bit more than those people.
Yes, exactly. I would die in these positions. I would just consider it like living, dying.
I had this great story, like when I was a roadie. I toured around with rock and roll bands, and one night we were it's a long sordid story, but I was in drag and I looked like Jesus. I had a long beard and long hair, and I was wearing this beautiful like low cut spandex dress thing, and my chest hair was coming out. It was very lovely. But we'd been
I can imagine.
Oh, it was stunning. And we'd been partying all night, cocaine, voyeuristic exhibitionist, sex everywhere. I mean, like crazy all night party until like 6 a.m. Come out at 6 a.m, and we're all coked up, sitting on the front steps, and we see all these people in Washington, D.C. walking by wearing suits and their briefcases, and they're just like zombies, just like going to their jobs. And we're like, look at our life and look at their life. Like, I love my life. Like, I so much want to have a great life that has great stories and great experiences. I do not want to be that person that dreads going to work.
Yes, exactly. I think we all, as artists or people from arts, feel the same. And I think that just, keeping this direction is success for me, if we could, consider the main topic of our interview. Because I'm, for me, I was for a very short time. My question for you is, why did you choose me? Why did you ask me to make the interview? Why did you think that I'm successful?
To be blunt, I'm not going to sit here and go, "Oh, I thought you were successful." I'm not
Oh,
necessarily always
thanks.
getting, yeah. I'm not always but I'm not always choosing successful people as the guests because
Okay,
I'm choosing different people because like the different levels and the different perspectives on the arts world. Like the reason why
okay,
I chose you would be because of your provocativeness, let's call it.
thanks. Thanks.
That's the word I'm
That's
going to put
correct.
to it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who puts Hitler on a penis, I'm all for it.
Thank you. Me too. Me too. Because I really need fun and at least some subjects in art. What I don't like about most of the contemporary art is that it's like meaningless. There's nothing in it. It's just form for me. I'm sorry to be so honest, but I'm really starving for some really good art that it makes you really laugh, go deeper, and enjoying the form. These three things I need to be in the piece. And most of the time, of course, I don't visit galleries. I just visit Instagram, but still on the Instagram when you are trying to like plan all the things.
Wait, I've got to ask, how does
Yes.
Instagram relate to your, like, not relate to, but like, how do they appreciate or block your potential, like, penis, vulva
They
imagery?
don't. They don't. They ignore me. Thanks
Oh,
God. But to be honest, I have like 26 posts on in my account, on my Instagram account, because currently I'm not working on any art. I was working 2020 whole year because, okay, here is my situation. I was like when I finished the schools, I was 25. I was just married to one guy. I was with him like for 9 years, so he was supporting me with my production of art, and I was this kind of dependent artist on my husband. It's very typical situation. A lot of artists chooses this way, and it wasn't working for me. I was very unhappy because I felt like, okay, if I will be more longer depending on this guy, I will never be free, and I will never be adult, and so on. So I divorced, needed to start to earn money somehow. So long story short, I have my drawing classes where I have like 30 people. I teach classical drawing because it seemed me the most easiest way how what to learn and how to earn money. So and yeah, I'm really good at it. So for me, it's really good source of money, and I'm enjoying it, enjoying the contact with the people, because after the years when you are just closed in your studio, you are going to be nuts from it. It's really making you crazy because you are all time just producing art, focusing on how to be more famous, more rich, and so on, and nothing from these things isn't happening in Czech Republic, and not and also not in worldwide. So, and not to me. This is the most important thing for me. It was like, okay, the part of the therapy to be able to earn money and live some social life and so on. So around my 30s, I was like in this, okay, I'm having this drawing classes, earning good money, but I wanted some how to say it, something to be sure that it's working, because all the time from the beginning it's okay, you need to all the time make Instagram posts, Facebook posts, and everything, and it's like it's making you crazy because it's changing so quickly. It's like each 6 months you need to learn new strategies, and it's like, oh my God, stop please. Yes, so my idea was, okay, sure, I have to write some fucking blogs about how to just stick the pen, and how to draw this line and so on. So I decided, okay, I will write a book, a big book about my method of how to draw, how to learn to draw. So I started. I thought it will be like a 2 or 3 years project. Not at all. I'm going to be 37 and it's not finished. So that's my situation. And during the 7 years, it was like waves of crisis about if I shouldn't stop to writing it and just go to make some art. And as as so I did. So it was like 2 years writing, 2 years art, 2 years writing, 2 years art. So here I am, and I'm almost finishing the stuff. And of course, it's not going to be book because we are in COVID situation. Everything is fucking online. So I'm producing online classes, and it's going to be huge. It's really going to be huge. It's like from 0 point to maximum, but it's one woman show. So it's like taking all my time to produce it, to shoot the videos and write storyboards and everything. And I think that one more year of work, which I'm telling myself like for 5 years, one more year, but I'm going to finish it one day. And then I hopefully come back to my studio and will be able to continue. And I have, like plenty of great ideas, provocative ideas, beautiful ideas. And I'm really looking forward to continue, but I need to create stable base for generating money. That's the plan, because I found out that it's impossible to make all the art just by myself, especially sculptures. But you can paint, you can draw, but sculptures, it's fucking complicated. It's like taking all the time. It takes so much time, to sculpt it, to mold it and pour it into bronze and money, and so I need some assistant to help me, and I need to be able to pay the assistant. So this is my project I'm working on, to be able at my 40s maybe come back into studio and to continue on some great art. So this is my vision. Let's see how it will work.
Well, I mean, it's the most, eternal story that we all have, which is like we want to be doing our creative thing, but we always have to find a way to make a stable income. And
Yes.
then a lot of us, I'm not going to say all of us, but a lot of us want to find a way to make a stable income from some sort of creative endeavor that we enjoy or appreciate or something like this. So, you trying to come up with a way to do that, teaching your skills to other people is, the same thing as like what I do. I'm a professor. So like, there you go. It's the same basic idea. Difference is I do it for somebody else. You're doing it for yourself.
Yes.
I'm not sure which is better. I'm just going to let that one slide.
Me neither. I know.
I mean, on the one hand, like you'll be earning all the money yourself, but on the other hand, you have all the sort of everything all by yourself. So like there's a certain amount of like things. One of the things that I find difficult is the lack of networking that I didn't do in my life that I think is incredibly important in the arts industry that I did so badly, which is really shocking because I was excellent at it as a kid, and then somehow I lost that skill, and I think I'm getting better at it again now, but I'm not sure.
I think you are good at it. You make the impress on me, like that you are the person that is really able. But maybe it's because we have the same, blood type, so call it. I'm terrible in networking, terrible because it's because I'm probably maybe so open and so quick with, I am not a good player with these things. I'm not good at having poker face and these stuff, like the strategy, how to sell it to the right people. I'm not really good at it. And I always thought that it's a role for gallerists but there are no gallerists, like no more.
Well, see, you brought up a word that I'm always thinking, like strategy. Like there is no, like there was a strategy. There was a time when it was sort of like, you go into your studio, you make your thing, you hand it off to a curator or a gallerist, and they do the rest.
Yeah. Yes, these times are over.
Oh, far over.
Far. It's like 70s or something.
Well, but see, that's what's funny is because, like, okay, and I've said this before, but when I was in school, so I was in art schools in the mid 90s to early 2000s, and I was being taught by my professors. Now, those professors, they were professors. They weren't actually in the art world, right, doing art. So they were only telling me what they were taught 30 years before that about how the art world works. So really, the knowledge I learned was like 50 years old.
Yes, exactly.
And so, and that's part of why I'm making this podcast, is because I'm a professor and I realize that like the stuff I'm telling people is now 30 years old when I'm talking to my students. And I'm like, wait a minute, I am so far out of touch. I have got to figure out how it's working now if I'm going to try and actually be helpful to students these days.
Yes. And what did you found out?
My primary things that I found out is that like as far as sort of relating to my own career and mistakes that I made that I would recommend to other people, find a home base, so a place, so and travel from there and all that, but stay there. Like, because I made the mistake of leaving. I grew up in Washington, D.C. I went to school in Iowa, North Carolina, San Francisco. I now have been to the Ohio and then the Middle East, and now I'm in Prague. And every time I moved, I lost all of the network that I built.
Yes. Yes, I
So
understand.
that's the big one. And then the second one is be good at not like networking, but like, for instance, when I went to grad school, I went there with the intention to teach. That was what I wanted to do. My career goal was I wanted to be a professor at a university, which I now am. So like that's exciting. But I went there with that goal. And so like I was like, I don't give a shit about making friends. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to get my fucking degree so I can get my job that I want.
Yeah.
And that was a huge mistake, because the point of going to school is to make those connections and make those friends and make that peer group and that critique group and that whatever. And exactly. I fucked that so royally.
Me too. Me too. I have it very similar. Okay, I had friends, but not all of them are artists anymore. That's the thing, And about the first point, I still think the same as you, that it's great to stay where you are and just travel, because it's stable. You need as an artist, you need to have a stable place where you create the art, and you can travel and make exhibitions, but still you need to be stable.
Well, especially these days. I mean, there was a time in the past where if you were an artist, let's say in the Czech Republic, you could only get to maybe Germany and Poland, and like there weren't many opportunities farther away. But these days, fucking FedEx, shipping containers, like you could do the shit all over the world. There is no reason to be able to say, oh, I have to be living there in order to be able to participate. No. You can live wherever you want to live and just ship it there.
Yes, exactly. I think so. Exactly the same thing as you. And thank you very much for telling me this. Because it's
I was telling you a mistake that I made, so like, yeah, okay.
so like this, okay.
Yeah, there's no reason to be anywhere. I mean, the farther the pandemic's going and the more things are going online and stuff, I'm sort of like, fuck, why am I not living on the beach or in the mountains? Like, why do I even give a shit about living in a city? I mean, you can get everything delivered to you.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, for a price and all that, but still, like, I mean, why suffer through living somewhere you don't love to live and experiences you don't enjoy to do? If you can go somewhere else, fucking go somewhere else. But still, like building those networks, having that community, having that foundation is one of those things that like I made a huge mistake on. And keeping in touch with people, like it's, God, everybody keeps telling me like, oh, you've got this great podcast, you should create an e-newsletter. And I'm like, I hate receiving e-newsletters. Like
I have the same on feeling based online strategy as you. I hate just receiving newsletters, so I don't make them either. Yeah, because it's just going directly into spam.
I'm 100%. I totally understand how they work for many companies and many artists and many people.
But, I think that for artists, I'm not like really working on my strategy as an artist, but I'm thinking about it all the time, what I'm going to do when I start like working again. And I think that nowadays you just really need to have a good Instagram, and the good Instagram just only about, what do you think? Why don't you think it's not the one of the most important things for artists? Tell me. because I'm really curious. I'm not stubborn about my strategy or ideas, not at all. I'm just brainstorming it. And I still think that where else is the art market happening?
She's reacting to my facial expressions that nobody can see. Like my disdain of her, like her the idea that like, oh, you have to make a good social media profile. Like it's painful to say that. I mean, because there's a bunch of different elements that go into that, because Instagram, let's focus on Instagram. Instagram is a curated lifestyle, and within that curated lifestyle, it's also based on the quality of the images. So like that doesn't mean your artistic ideas are good, that doesn't mean your artwork is necessarily of very high merit. It means that you can take beautiful photos of your things. That's it. Because there's no, like, how many times have you gone to an Instagram account and gone, oh my God, I love the concept behind that? No, you're like, hey, that's pretty. I like it. And then you hit like. So
no. Maybe I'm a different user, different kind of user, because usually I'm just, scrolling through the beautiful images and I'm just seeing the emptiness. And when I see something that is really conceptually good, I can see it, I can recognize it. And then, but there is not so much things in Instagram of this kind. So
well, but that's the thing, is like people within the industry, we can recognize that, but Instagram is not for us. It's not for us. It's not about us. It's about half naked / naked people and celebrities. Yes. It's not true. About artistic concepts and all this. So it's really hard to get through that. I mean, do I believe a strong Instagram account is useful? Yes.
Useful. Yes, it's useful. Yes, not the main thing. It's useful.
But right. That's the thing, is like I don't think it's like I don't want to encourage the next generation to focus too much attention and time on that.
Okay, I understand and agree, but really, just the question in the discussion is where the art market is happening. Where is it happening?
It is exactly the same place it's always been happening, which is handshakes. It's still the entire industry is about relationships. Period.
Okay.
Like no matter what you do. I mean, I've had instances where people have contacted me like, oh my gosh, I love this work, and I write back to them, and then it's just sort of peters off and they don't buy anything. Whereas then I have an exhibition and I meet somebody and we get to talking, and I tell them stories about this and that and why this and my life story, whatever, and they buy it. So it's still about relationships in the end. I mean, yes, you can absolutely do a certain amount of business and whatever you need to be doing through social media, Instagram, even your website. But to grow, like to get collectors, to get curators, to get institutional exhibitions, these kinds of things take handshakes, because in the end, here's another thing that I learned, which I think speaks more poorly of me than anything else, but it's that in the end, no matter how good your art is, people want to enjoy working with you. Okay. So like if you're a little arrogant shit the way I was at a certain time in my life, then it didn't matter if I made amazing work. They didn't want to work with me.
I'm thinking about other examples from art industry about all the artists that are selling art and are arrogant. So maybe I'm not sure if this point of view is really
well, there's a fine line between self-confidence and arrogance.
This is not argument for me, the right argument. No, sorry, I don't mean it like badly. I'm think that self-confident person, I can recognize it, and I can recognize that some of them are really like arrogant assholes.
Oh yeah. And I was at a certain time in my life. I hope that I've passed that, but maybe I still am. Who knows?
Yeah. I think it's good to be just a little bit, like.
I think it's necessary to be a little bit, or else we're fucking crazy to continue to do this our entire lives.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. but still, how do you see the role of galleries? Because my experience with galleries and galleries in Czech Republic isn't really good, because I can understand why. I can understand why they are doing their job the way they are doing it, and I don't think that every time they are choosing like a really good art for them. And for me, it's not the merit of the things that they would be able to recognize the quality of your art. And maybe it's like you said before, okay, it's supposed to be for them like a good relationship with you and good to be worked with. But I think I am, very responsible, very open, and everything creative person. I think I'm the best to work with, to collaborate with, but nobody wants to collaborate with me. So where is the problem?
It was told to me also by another guest, well, many guests actually, the relationship between an artist and a gallerist is like dating. And so like, even if your work is magnificent for a particular gallery, if that relationship between you and them isn't sort of like sparking that amazing joy and like happiness and thrill of a relationship, then that's it. And it's totally personal things. Like I know some of the galleries that you have exhibited in, and really? I totally understand why you don't get along with some of those gallerists.
Okay. When we stop record, you will tell me which ones.
Finding a gallerist is that eternal sort of like a relationship kind of thing. It's a really hard thing. I know lots of artists that don't ever have galleries. And on the other hand, I know lots of artists that have dozens of galleries. I mean, given now your works, like let's swing a little bit towards that way. Your work is, you use the word controversial. I'm not sure I would say controversial, but you're definitely a protagonist. You're definitely even an antagonist. Like you are really sort of putting a fine line on things. I mean, you do like dildos with, or are they dildos with Hitler and and what is it, Stalin and Mao?
Stalin and Mao. Yeah. Stalin and Mao, the century.
But are they dildos or are they penises? Because to me, there's somehow that's a difference.
They are dildos.
Yeah, that's what I sort of assumed, since they had no ball sack with them. So I sort of went with dildos. But yeah, but you're doing like, you're the phrases that I popped in my head were like you're messing with innocence, sex, and power. Those are the three things that I'm like, you are really fucking with how they work together or work in opposition to each other. And I totally understand why people might have difficulty. Like, as much as I love like the teddy bear with the human penis, I don't believe that's suitable for my home.
I understand you. It's okay. It's suitable for my home.
Yeah, I do not believe my wife would be accepting of that in the home, and our future child, I don't think would be right for that. But yeah, I mean,
you really think so? I think because the idea of the teddy bear with the human penis. I remember when I was small, and it's typical Freud. You are experiencing yourself sexually as a child, and it's normal. And I remember always playing with my toys, the sexual games they were playing between them. And I think it's really normal. And it's in psychology, it's called, like you used to use it, the third place, where you can replay all the stuffs that are inside you, and you are also experiencing it from around you, from the adults, all the subjects, and you are just playing it through the toys. And that's it.
First time I ever get like a male and a female toy of any sort, it's always like make him have sex, like that's what, or make him kiss, exactly, or whatever. Like we always do that.
Exactly. Yes, always.
And I apologize for same-sex couples. I should have said that in the way. Anytime I get two toys, regardless of their genders, I make them make out or have sex. Like, so it's not
So
just
you don't have to be so American about this stuff. I'm okay with it.
I mean, I'm heterosexual, so to me, it was always like a male and a female toy, and make them have sex. There you go.
It's okay. I used to have some confusions about my gender, not identity, but about my sexual preferences. So I'm okay about it. At
Haven't
the
we
end,
all questioned that at some point? I
I
mean, like,
think so. I think so, and it's very common for women to also try it, and it's very common. I don't know.
I tried it. I'm good with, I tried
Me
it. I
too,
realized
perfect,
I don't like it. That's it. And maybe it was him. Maybe it was the situation. Maybe it was the time period in my life, whatever. Maybe it was the fact that he ended up stalking me for years. I mean, there are lots of different reasons, but like, it didn't work for me.
For me neither. I don't like the smell of women. And it's always about the smell. There can be really good relationship, but the sex doesn't work for me with women. That's it. And at least I try. I tried and I know it.
Yeah, that's right. Like, my general philosophy in life is always, I will try anything once, and if I don't like it, I won't do it twice.
Yes, exactly.
Like, but I'll try it once, give me a drug, give me a sex act, whatever. I'll try it once, and if it doesn't work, do whatever I need from it, then I just don't do it again. There.
Yes, sure.
And of course that translates to art as well. So like, I'll try any technique or idea or concept once, and if it's not sort of fulfilling in whatever reason, like, I constantly am testing out materials and trying new this. Like, I go to art stores and I'm always like, oh, what is that? And I buy it, and then I take it home and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's totally wrong. It's like, I've got like shelves upon shelves of materials that I've bought that I like only used like a little bit, because I'm like, nope, that doesn't work. But I end up using them usually later, like, because I have shelves and shelves of materials that I tested, and then like 3 years later I'll be like, oh, what would be great on this new thing I'm trying now is this thing that I tested 3 years ago. And,
yes,
and I go back to it. So like, yeah, I love materials and playing with like the different stuff, and you seem to as well, because you're using like bronzes and marbles and hair and stuff, taxidermy and all kinds of very unique materials.
Yes, I'm enjoying it. For me, the idea is what is telling you what to use as a material. I'm this kind of conceptual sensitive person or artist in this, because if you the way you change the material, the way you change the medium, it's what makes the idea great or not great.
Well, I mean, if you had done the bronze teddy bear with a human penis on it in real fur and potentially like some sort of skin proxy kind of thing, I would feel very uncomfortable with that piece. But in bronze,
me too.
It's somehow like, oh yes, that's got a reverence to it and a permanence about it that seems a little bit more.
Yes, exactly.
It's got a little more gravitas behind it. But like the Hitler, Mao, Stalin dildos, like if those were actually made in the same material as dildos, I would be like, oh, that's kind of a fun little toy, like it would feel like a bachelorette thing almost.
Yes, exactly.
But you did it in bronze, and that choice of that material has sort of been like, oh no, this is a serious statement. It's in bronze.
Yes, exactly. And bronze is eternal. That's the meaning. It's almost the same strong meaning as when you use some stone like marble and so on. It's supposed to stay here for ages and to be a statement, and that's the opposite to the idea that together working it really makes the strength of the piece art.
Okay, but so now, have you had any successes with being able to sell some of these more? I'm specifically thinking the provocative style of imagery.
Yes, I did. For example, the heart with vagina, I feel it. It's called I feel it. It's sold. In sculpture, you can have like from 5 to 10 pieces of each considered as original. So heart is sold. The teddy bear is not sold, but there are still some remaining, but some of them are sold, like some pieces, and also with dictators. I would have to open my portfolio because I'm not good at remembering all the details. But yes, some of my art was sold like regularly.
Oddly, the vagina on the heart, I totally understand why that's sold. Like that makes sense to me. Like that I
Me
can see a
too.
lot of people relating to that easily.
Yeah,
The dictators on the dicks, meh, yeah, the teddy bears. I mean, again, like it's it's got something. Like you really have like also you have the one piece. Hold on, wait, I want to find the title of the piece. The skin.
yes, I
Like
love it.
you
Nobody
really,
understands it.
I understand it, I think, but like, boy, you really, what is it with teddy bears? Why are you so mean to teddy bears?
I'm sorry, but the skin, this piece is very very easy to understand. It's together, I think, in my portfolio with a short video art when I'm feeding the teddy bear. I guess I hope it's on my website. I'm not sure now, but it was exhibited together. And no, it's not. I was always thinking to put it there, but maybe it's on the blog from the report from the exhibition. There is exhibited together, and together it works much more stronger because that's the idea. As you as a child, you are projecting or the fantasies into teddy bears, and you are feeding them. You as a child, you believe that when you are feeding the toys, they are eating actually. And the end of the childhood and the ritual of being adult, and it's about to being able to kill the teddy bear. And so you kill it and you just put the skin on the wall or on the floor. That's the ritual. That's
Okay,
the reason.
I've got to know. I'm so what was your childhood like?
Very lonely. Yes, my childhood was, I think, nice and hard, because I was just, living with my mother. She is a nurse, so I basically was raised in a hospital among adults and among ill and dying people. And always I was very talented and clever child, and felt lonely because my mother was like, in those days it wasn't normal that she was 40 when she had me. So I was, really among old people raised. So I consider this as a thing that really had impact on me, huge impact. That I wasn't very well with people of my age. I wasn't able to speak with them normally, like about normal topics. I was always speaking with them about the adult topics. So I wasn't a typical child. But I think I really love to think about the hospital, about all the doctors and nurses. I really love that. And that's all.
Well, a lot of your work actually makes a whole lot more sense now.
Thank you.
Just the fact of knowing that actually makes it like, oh, okay, so you're not affected in the same way that probably the average person is affected by,
Yeah.
like seeing physical anatomy and seeing death and seeing these kind of things, because these were things that you experienced as a youth. Like totally
Yes.
makes much more sense now.
Yes, yes, yes. I think that's it, because I was, really used to listen about dying people and, liquids, fluids from your body just during the dinner. And my mother really wasn't really good at it. She was like wearing the work home, like, and I was the only person who could listen to her. So it went all through me.
I have the greatest story for that. A friend of mine in high school's father is an anesthesiologist. And
Yeah,
we sat down to dinner one night. So it was my friend and I think his brother and his parents, and then me. I was just sort of the
yeah.
guest. And the father sits down as an anesthesiologist, and his wife goes, "So how was work today?" And he goes, "Oh, we had a really tough time. This lady was on the surgical table, and she'd had so much anal sex that she had ripped her anus wide
Oh,
open."
yes,
And he
yes,
went
yes,
into like graphic detail about all
yes,
of the and his way.
yes,
And
yes.
I'm just sitting there like, what?
That's my life. Yes, this is my normal life. Yes, yes. That's for me. It's normal. And yes, that's the thing. So I really can feel the like physiology part of living. It's it's
Yeah, no, that shocked me.
that's
Shocked me quite a
and
lot.
then the second thing about the sexuality is that my mother was always very open to talk about it. So for me, it was like open 90s in Czech Republic. You can't imagine. It was like a residue of the previous regime, and I think that the older generation. My mother is now going to be 75, but older generation are really lived the sexual topics in a different way than we live it nowadays. Nowadays, we are always thinking about it in the romantic way, that two-person just together. No, not that it wouldn't be happening like all the stuffs with that, with parallel partners and so on. But I think that in those times it was like a common thing that all the nurses slept with the doctors, with the patients, and this where I was raised. Among these topics that I was seeing it, and it was full of dying, sex, blood, and that I think that it's really the thing with me.
All right. I was fine with nurses and doctors sleeping together, but you're saying they have sex with patients?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, that shit would never go on in the US. I mean, maybe it did at
I
a
know.
time, but it would never
But it was
happen
it
now.
was it was from both sides. It wasn't that they were abusing them.
Yeah, I'm thinking like
It-
comatose patients or something.
no,
like
no, no,
okay.
no, no. It was just
Consensual.
yes, consensual.
Okay.
It wasn't like the palliative care. It was like normal hospital. You can calm down. Sorry.
Whew. I mean, I don't blush often, but boy, that set me off there.
Sorry.
All right, another thing that I wonder about is like, okay, and I'm going to be slightly critical in this way, but like
Sure,
the
can be.
a lot of regional places. So like I'm going to use the Czech Republic as an example in this case. So a lot of regional places are very nationalistic. So like Germans love German art, Czechs love Czech art, like Austrians love Austrian artists, and Americans love American artists kind of thing. So like it's a very regional thing. So like I find it that a lot of the Czech artists have a difficult time getting their work outside of the Czech Republic. Have you found that to be a problem?
It depends on which level of sharing with outside world we would think about it. Because if I put something online, usually people get it around the world. Absolutely, no problem. They understand it in Greece, in Italy, in France, in America, everywhere. I usually get the feedback all around the world, and it's considered like, okay, we understand it. It's provocative, and we somehow feel the meaning, the deepness of your art, and everything works perfectly. But about here, it's not so easy. People here are more conservative than I thought. Because I just thought from my experience that people would be more open in my country, and they are not. And the second thing is that in Czech Republic, here's a huge gap about there's this disconnection with contemporary art. People here are not visiting galleries to consume contemporary art, and it's because of the school system, I guess, probably because they are in the basic school. They're maybe until the 4th grade, but from the 5th grade they are not visiting galleries, not talking about art, why art is as it is, and there is no history of art in elementary or basic school, not even in high schools. It doesn't exist. So people usually understand literature, understand to the theater, and of course to movies, but not to the contemporary art. It's not normal thing in Czech Republic. So that's the reason why all of us from Czech Republic are trying to get abroad with our art, because we feel that the normal people will understand that they will be interested at least at us. So this is a thing, because here's not so many people is interested in contemporary art, and it's frustrating because when you are not being viewed and you are not selling your art, it's like, okay, why am I doing this? So that's the feeling for most of us. And of course there are some artists that are selling and are selling on a regular basis, and they are good at like earning living with that, but it's like 100 and consider there is like, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000 contemporary artists here.
Yeah, I find that like in a lot of Europe, and so I'm not going to make this about the Czech Republic, but a lot of Europe, like there's this very large stigma against artists that sell on a regular basis. For some reason, they think that maybe they're not as sort of as evolved or as sort of whatever, like in some way, like that they've sold out to the man kind of thing, instead of are really sort of staying true to their creative endeavors. And it's a really hard balance. Like, I mean, even in America, we have the same problem. Like, it's, do you, to a certain extent, like, do you pander to the potential of being able to sell easily, or do you stay true to your vision and not sell?
Yes. It's like this, like, I think everybody has this dilemma. It's normal, and for some of us it's not a dilemma, it's just the reality that you are not selling, so we are continuing in the true way.
It's hard because, I mean, a lot of it is partly like, I think, trying to find the right market, because like when I was living in America, everybody said, oh, your work would do really well in Europe. And so now I'm in Europe and everybody's like, oh, you're so American.
Yeah.
Fuck you all. Like, I can't win either way.
Everybody's telling me, like, you with your art in New York, where could you be?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. The BDSM community would probably like love your work.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, it's just that struggle, that continual struggle of like trying to find the right place, as much as it is the right gallery and the right everything else. Because like a great gallery in, I don't know, and I apologize for, like Estonia, even if they're a great gallery, is only going to do you so good. But like a great gallery, like a mediocre gallery in New York would be exponentially better, kind of thing. So it's,
sure.
It's a tough thing, because like not every collector is looking everywhere. So like, social media, like, so going back to that, like you might post shit on social media, but like if a collector is not like intentionally sitting there going, I'm really looking for a dildo with Hitler's head on it, like they're not going to find your work. I'm sorry, I keep going back to that one.
Sure, it's okay. It's okay.
It's on my screen. It's the biggest image on my screen.
Really, it's nice. No, I think that it's not only social media. There is a lot of platforms, like web platforms, where you can try to sell your art. I'm not using them yet, and so I don't know if they are working. So I cannot tell you if it's good or bad. I still think that if we go deeper into the meaning of why do we, like, not only we as artists make art, but we as viewers consume the art. What is it? It's a social ritual. That's what is it about. And that's the reason where I agree with you that it's probably why it's working better offline than online, because we want to connect with the artist. And I think that today artist is something like shaman. I don't know how you say shaman. Like
shaman, yeah.
Shaman, perfect. Like contemporary shaman. You are here, you have the talent to get the things through you outside. And even though you are telling just the normal thing, they think you are telling something special, then that you understand something behind or beyond that average reality. And so they want to talk with you about the subject that is in the art, and then they feel good that they went through the connection with the artist and the art. And it's like social ritual that is very important.
It's so funny you say that, because like I remember a time when I was at an art opening and my artwork was on display and somebody wanted to talk to me about my art, and I was just like, no. I'm happy to talk to you. Because you go through all this effort to, like, you produce this visual thing that expresses this idea, then you write an artist statement, then you title the piece, then you do all, and like you have spelled out as much as you could possibly think. And if they don't get it, they're not gonna get it anymore if I talk with them. And like I was just like, I don't want to talk about it like I've already given you everything I could possibly give you, and I put like months of effort into making the work, thinking
Yes.
about the work, writing about the work, doing all the work, and if you don't get it already, I'm not going to be able to say anything to convince you. Now, in hindsight, obviously they were trying to get something, they were trying to make some connection with me, and I completely just screwed the pooch on that one. So yeah,
That's it.
I know.
Yes.
God, the more we talk, the more I'm like, fuck, I screwed this up and I screwed that up. I made this mistake.
No. I think I made another mistakes. I'm really enjoying talking about art with people. At first point, not of course, because it's for me it's my intimacy, and the reason why I put it into the symbols is because I didn't want to tell it directly.
Yes, we use
Sure.
metaphors because we
Yes.
don't want to talk about that thing.
Sure. But I think that if you want to be really great artist, not only good artist, then the another part of your role is to be able to speak with people about it. I think it is like this because, and especially nowadays when you don't have good reporters, there are no articles about contemporary art in newspapers, and the curators, if you go to the exhibition, you read the text and you are okay. So I am educated in reading it, and it's really hard for me. So what about normal people who are reading it? And for normal people, it's like overwhelming. They are, what is the word when you feel like that somebody is really trying to make about you, to be more about you.
Pompous.
Yeah, something. Yes. And so they don't feel very well, the visitors, about it. And this is the reason why the scissors are more and more opening about the visitor and the author, and they really want to connect. People want to connect. And if there is no chance, there are no channels, they will just ignore it. And why I'm telling it? Because I think that if you want to sell, not like in the 3 years waves, but like continually to be great artist, you need to be not only well known, but also people really need to like your work, not for the subject, but for the understanding of it. They just don't want to feel stupid when they see your work. They want to be able to speak about it.
I know. When I was a kid, I remember I grew up near the Smithsonian Institution in Washington D.C., and I remember going into these exhibitions. Now, this is, mind you, like what, early mid '80s. You go in and there'd be this big plaque, like thing on the wall, written by some curator that was using like massive intellectual words and referencing philosophy and Latin phrases and like all this pompous stuff that I was just sort of like, what the fuck are they saying? And these days there's this huge sort of balance. Like some people still adhere to that way of thinking, that like the curator is supposed to be this arrogant, pompous person that's basically saying, I know more than you do. And so I'm going to use big words and big ideas that you don't understand because you're not supposed to understand them, but I do. And I'm going to show you how smart I am. Then on the other hand, there are a lot of places that are making these statements and these curatorial sort of texts and things more relatable. And I appreciate that. However, I have seen some that have dumbed them down so stupid that it's like they're writing them for like fifth graders. And it's just like, okay, you don't need to say things like red is meant to represent passion. Like, no shit. Like, we all know that. Like, come on. So, I mean, there is a fine line, but like there was a long period of time where curators were thought to need to sort of prove their worth by writing these incredibly arrogant, intellectualized, academic bullshit to try and say, I'm smarter than you. And that's pretty much all it came down to. And as an academic who has written these kinds of things, I totally understand why they are horribly received by the public.
Yes, exactly. And these are just small parts. If working together, it would make, I think, like healthier market of art.
Absolutely. Like I've seen some amazing work that I was turned off to because of some horribly arrogant text.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I've read some amazing text that the work didn't live up to. So
Yes, sure. Works from both sides. Yes.
it really does. Like, so I'm not blaming curators and their text, but I'm just saying that like they need to be on some equal footing. Like you can't over intellectualize something that's really simple,
Yeah,
and you can't oversimplify something that's very intellectual.
it's true. It's true. I'm really, curious how the pandemic will change the art market, if it will, affect it somehow or not, because I'm not sure, there is probably a difference between Czech market and the worldwide market, because Czech market is already almost dead.
Well, it's funny. I think about this quite a lot, and I talk to people about it quite a lot. But like, I think there's a difference between like blue chip investment art and the working artist. So like the blue chip Sotheby's, Serpentine Gallery and all those kinds of games, it's not going to affect them at all. Like people will always need tax shelters and tax write-offs, and they will always money launder through those $1 million deals. But it's the working artist. I wonder about coming out of this, like whether there will be more or less support for art, or whether there will be more or less like grants and residencies and opportunities for us. What I mean, a lot of galleries are going to be closing, so it's like, will there be less opportunities to exhibit? And quite honestly, to a certain extent, maybe that's good, because maybe there's a bunch of shit galleries that should be closing anyways. And on the other hand, I know some very well established, excellent galleries that have chosen to close at this time as well. So like, it's not just getting rid of shitty stuff. Sometimes, people just say like enough is enough, and they just pan out. But it is interesting to see where it's going to go. I'm hopeful, but I'm always hopeful. I'm a pessimistic optimist. No, I'm a pessimistic optimist. I plan for the worst, but hope for the best.
It's nice. And what do you think about the new fashion, I think, in art? Maybe it's the new platform, new media, NFT.
Yeah, I've talked about those in the past. Like basically it comes down to, at the moment, I feel like they are just a money laundering scheme. And I feel like the NFT market is basically, it's a cryptocurrency period that they just said, oh, you know what we can do to make our cryptocurrency different from every other cryptocurrency? Let's just use artists. So we'll put a little visual avatar to it, and we'll make artists do work for free. And then we can, and well, no, not even free. We'll make them pay us for the right to create a thing. So we'll make money off of them all kinds of different ways, and our cryptocurrency will do better. So at the moment, I feel like it's not to the artist's advantage, on the average artist's advantage. I mean, obviously Beeple, he did really well, but like the average artist, I don't feel like it's some great, magnificent thing yet. Because I believe it's still run by corporations, and I believe it's run by, cryptocurrency, big wigs and tech people and all this kind of stuff. So I think if the artists and people in the art world were had a seat at the table with the how it's structured and how it works and all this kind of stuff, I think that it could be potentially something really amazing. But at the moment, I believe it's just not to our advantage on average.
I feel the same. I feel it's just a huge hype. I'm very weird. I have a very weird feeling about it. I'm not against new things, I'm absolutely okay with it. But this is something I feel it's not going to work like more than 3 or 5 years, I hope.
Oh no, I think it'll continue to work, and it will always be a thing. But it's always going to be a thing for people who like cryptocurrency, like the. Yeah, for those people, for anybody who loves cryptocurrency, it's great because it gives it like a little pretty picture, so they don't just go like, oh, I've got this number That's it. So now they've got a picture to go with the representation of their number of value. And it's just an avatar. It's cute. It's fun. I mean, it has its place. And like, when they can find that way to make it actually more beneficial for artists, or at least so that there's some not feeling like we're just totally being used for their benefit, then yeah, I'm all for it. It's just not there yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I worry about the future though, always. I mean, I love the amount of support that the European Union and all this region gives to the arts. Like, this is the thing, is like, you were raised in the Czech Republic. Do you like, have you ever done grants and residencies and things like this?
No, but it's the reason is that I would want. I won't, but I always thought, okay, now is not the time. I should stay here and produce things into my portfolio. Because it's sculptures, it really takes time to just make the portfolio. It takes you like 10 years. It's like normal thing. So I'm going to go to some residencies. I'm really looking forward to it, because I hope it will help me to make a better network with some galleries abroad, hopefully.
Because the whole structure for me of like residencies and grants and governmental support and stuff in Europe, I think, is phenomenal in comparison to America. Like, I hate the American capitalistic sort of cycle of art creation. It turns it too much of a commodity and and doesn't focus on the ideas, whereas the granting system and the residency system is really sort of focused more on the conceptual side of things. Now, don't get me wrong, I kind of think Europe may have gone too far towards the conceptual, and I think that America has gone too far towards the capital, and I would love to find some beautiful balance between them, shouting back to our desire for balance. So there is something in the middle, and yeah, because like, I've seen a lot of shit art in Europe that is funded by some, like, I saw this one, I couldn't believe it. I went into an art gallery and somebody had literally just drug a dumpster in from the street and put it into the gallery, and then taken all the trash out of it and put it on the ground. And this was funded by the government. And I'm like, wow, if that can get funded, I should be able to get funding.
Yes. I absolutely agree with you, and this is the paradox of supporting art in this way. I have the same opinion about it as you have. I think it should be balanced more, and the way how it is supported here in European Union, or maybe for me, I know it more from the Czech side. There is too much concept. And the concept has its really huge limits, because not every idea is good idea, and the problem is, if the form is missing, then you have really just what you described, and it makes the problem with the art market much more deeper, because then the visitors or viewers just say, okay, what the fuck is this? So, and why is it paid from our money? And that's a really extreme situation, and the opposite in America. I understand you that it's too much capitalistic way, and it also doesn't work, because I have seen it only once. I have been in Miami when I was running the Dancing House Gallery with the owners in the art fair, in Miami, and I have been speaking with a lot of artists there, because they have been very into art, the owners. And I saw it probably as you saw it very closely, that it's very empty. It's just about like, working and waiting for my moment. And when it comes, then I will like in drugs for 3 years and earning as much money as possible, like because I know the flash will go away, and that's something I considered, I don't want to live this, because I prefer the European way, when you grow slowly and surely, not like peak and down.
Well, that's to me, that's the way any artistic career. So even like, you can do like one hit wonders in musicians as well. Same kind of thing. Like they come and they peak with some amazing album, and then basically they just continue to play that same album the rest of their lives because they didn't just build a nice career out of it, nice slope to their upward slope. It's hard because you want that acclaim and respect and appreciation. And whether it comes in peaks or whether it comes slowly over time, they're both difficult.
Yes, sure, both difficult, exactly. And so when I was thinking about your topic, the topic of your podcast, complexly, the days before we met online here, I was thinking, okay, I chose my way of producing, even though I'm not selling, and I like it because I feel free. The only one thing I really needed to handle was the fear of feeling unsuccessful, because it's just the feeling. Okay, I will produce. Maybe it will someday sell out or not, and who knows? But I need to say these things to the world, and I know my art is somehow controversial for people, and it always probably be, because I'm not going to be formalist at all. That's not my kind of art. And so all thing I have to do is just to accept my way of being an artist and just go with it. Then that's all.
There's nothing wrong with that. There are plenty of people who make incredible careers out of being provocative artists. Like, and just, to me, it's learning your lane and embracing that. And that's it. So like, you're never going to please everybody, period. I mean, well, okay, maybe some people would, like Thomas Kincaid or some other really horrible artists like that. But generally you're not going to please everybody. So you just got to say like, okay, this is my lane and I'm going to be there, period.
Yes, exactly. Just, it's my choice to continue in this way, and that's all, and my responsibility.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you very much for inviting me into this beautiful interview.
Thank you for listening all the way to the end of this conversation. We would appreciate it if you would share the podcast with your friends, family, coworkers, even studio mates, anyone with an interest in the arts and creative endeavors. The building and strengthening of the arts and creative community is at the core of our mission for this podcast. They can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We are produced by 5014, the audio was edited by Mickey at CushAudio Services, and the music was created by Pete Bybee. Thanks, Pete. We all know how important funding for the arts is, so I'd like to show my appreciation for the EEA grants from Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway in their effort to work together for a green, competitive, and inclusive Europe. We would also like to thank our partners Hunt Kastner in Czech Republic and Kunstsentrene i Norge in Norway. Links to EEA grants and our partner organizations are available in the show notes or on our website, wisefoolpod.com.